how do we deal with the culture in which we live now, where that people would say, I'm spiritual, I'm not religious?
First question, what do you mean by that? What do you mean you're spiritual but not religious?
Well, they would say, I don't believe that Jesus, it was a great story, he was a great man.
I would ask, does a great man claim to be God if he's not God?
Today's topic is about spirituality. I think it's becoming very common these days that you ask people, oh, are you Christian? Which religion do you? And they're like, no, I'm spiritual. I'm like, what's that? I believe in God, but not in Jesus. I don't read the Bible and all that stuff. And sometimes, as a Christian, the conversation becomes, you are pushy, you judge me, you did, you that. And sometimes, personally, I just feel like it's the conversation, you have to be very careful on how you approach it. Because a lot of times, that person is on a crossroad. The conversation becomes very, very delicate. That person is at a crossroad. They have been there for a long time, especially, I believe, back home, we always be careful when you're making a turn. You look left, you look right. Some people can be stuck there for a long time. That's the way Holy Spirit explained to me. Like, not everybody makes cross the right time. Some people take a longer time and all that stuff. Now, you as the person that are there is you whatever you say can push them in one way or the other. So I know I've met few people that a lot of people that say they are spiritual, and we talked, and the more the conversation goes on, the more people want to quote Matthew chapter 7, do not judge. And I'm like, that passage, you are not representing it right. Because a lot of times people will misquote with their point and all that stuff. And when you read the passage, they will label you like you're manipulating stuff, you're doing this. And cross-examine is they put it in a better word than I can. So let's listen.
Culture in which we live now, where that people would say, I'm spiritual, I'm not religious.
First question, what do you mean by that? What do you mean you're spiritual but not religious?
Well, they would say, I don't believe that Jesus, it was a great story, he was a great man.
I would ask, does a great man claim to be God if he's not God? They're going to have to say no. Well, then why do you think he was a great man? You know, C.S. Lewis had a famous quote about that. In fact, he said, I'm trying to prevent here the really foolish things that people often say about Jesus, that he was a great moral teacher. He said, that is the one thing we must not say. A man who claims he's a great moral teacher but also claims he's God is on the level of a man who says he's a poached egg or something else. He said he's either a madman, he's a liar, or he's Lord and God. But let us not come with any patronizing nonsense about Jesus being a great human teacher. He has not left that open to us. He did not intend to, right? Look, if he is God, then he's God. If he's not God, he's not a good teacher because he claimed to be God and he isn't. He's either a lunatic or a liar. You remember the old Lord, liar, lunatic trilemma? So you can't just get a great moral teacher out of Jesus. He's either God or he's nothing.
Because the thing that I struggle with is the fact that they would be willing to say, well, you know, I'm into this new age thing. You know, and in white witchcraft. And, you know, but yet they would deny Jesus.
Met few of those as well. And sometimes by the end of the conversation, I'm more trouble and sad in my spirit. You have to be smiling because you see some intelligent persons and having articulation and quote, and sometimes they even have the Bible to counteract you. And not every time you have all your verse and all this stuff, and you're trying to, at least in the short, especially because I normally meet those people at work. the short time that I have, I want to make as much efficient of the time I have through put view fast that I remember, give them the point and all that stuff. They give me a rebuttal. I come back and like write, like go back and forth a little bit, and I have to go out into another patient and all that stuff. It just break my heart that a lot of people. Sometimes I want to use the word closed-minded in whatever they believe in, even when they're wrong. I've met someone that, uh, to me, their life is a walking miracle. Accident, die. Doctor give them like you with your current conditions and all that stuff. You'll be lucky to get 2, 3 years. 10 years later, they're still walking and they still find it difficult to believe like God is walking in their life, healing them. And I just like, what did God have to do to bring you closer to Him, to make you see He's calling you?
Well, I would ask them why they think their view is true. What evidence do they have for it? Look, when somebody has a worldview or makes a claim that you think is false, it's not your job to refute what they say. It's their job to support what they say. So why do you think that white witchcraft is the way to go? And if you think there is a spiritual realm, a white witchcraft, who do you think reigns over that? I mean, if you're thinking that there's a demonic realm out there, don't you also have to realize there's a positive, godly, spiritual realm? Why would you get involved with the occult when you could get involved with your creator? So it always amazes me that people who get involved in the occult are somehow, well, I know why they're deceived, because Satan has deceived them, but if there's a demonic side, there has to be a good side.
And that's the thing that with me feels so like you can't force anybody to accept God or anything, but you could at least just conversation with them, because your conversation is the seed that God needed to sow. It's not your job to force them to accept Christ. It's not your job to even try to change their mind at that point. And that right there. But you sowing the seed, leave it to God. That's what Holy Spirit told me, and that's because sometimes at the end of the conversation you can feel more frustrated. And if you read the book, the Matthew chapter 7, which a lot of people normally says like you're judging this and all that stuff. Yes, the verse I'm reading NLT this time, it said, "Do not judge others, and you will not be judged, for you will be treated as you treat others. The standard you use in judging is the standard by which you will be judged." So, and it goes by the hypocrisy of human. And why worried about sparking your friend's eyes when you have a log in your own? So, what the Bible is saying is, it said, go to verse 5. Hypocrite, first get rid of the log in your own eyes, then you will see well to deal with sparking your friend's eyes. So, it's saying, like, remove your, like, the verse 1 and 2 explanation. Jesus tells us to examine our own motive, conduct, instead of judging others. The traits that bother us in others are often the habits we find in ourselves. Our bad habits and behavior patterns are one of the most that need to change in others. Do you find it easy to magnify others' faults while excusing your own? If you are ready to criticize someone, check to see if you deserve the same criticism. Judge yourself first. Then, lovingly forgive and help your neighbor, because that's the most important part. You are not supposed to be judged, but you're supposed to have a conversation and lovingly correct your neighbor. Because if you go down after when you go to verse 12, he said, "Do to others whatever you would like them to do to you." This is the essence of all the thing that was taught in the law and the prophet. Love your neighbor as yourself. It's as simple as that. Love them the way you want to be loved. Not sometimes you have to understand what love is. That you are not, what do you call it? Expressing a toxic love. and all that stuff. And verse 13 goes into why you have to have discernment. Because what I see in verse 7, or chapter 7, is all talking about discernment, analyzing critical stuff, and knowing when to get involved, how to help others, and how to love them. Because if you love someone, if they are going through the bad destruction part or destructive part, you'll be able to give them heads up. Please, that road is closed. That road, there's a pothole there. There is some dangerous activities there, and all that stuff. That is, and if they're doing some action, maybe someone dressed in a way that can invite a problem and danger into their life. Let's say they're going through the bad neighborhood. I used to live in some neighborhood where I know certain dress code will create certain unwanted attention. As a guy, as a family guy, I'm very careful and very intentional in the way I present myself because I know I don't want certain unsafe attention on me. Because there are certain area, male or females, you are not safe if you dress in a flamboyant way, gold chain or whatever stuff. You're just inviting trouble. As simple as it is. And if you are someone that sees, if you are a godly person, a good, if you are a person, you see someone dressed in a way that you know if they go through that neighborhood, they're going to get themselves in trouble, I think you should give them heads up. It's their choice to take it. It's not, you can't force them to take what you recommend. So, and he said, when you go further, it talks about the way of false teaching and all that stuff. So discernment is critical. What chapter 7 of Matthew chapter 7 is talking about is discernment. Correct in love, love others as yourself, and don't try spirituality, not knowing God, Christ, not knowing God. Just pray for others. Don't try to force them. Don't try to change who they are. That's God's job, not yours. I know you can be frustrated, but always remember, even when they say you're argumentative and all that stuff, find a way to have a peaceful conversation with these people because you will meet them. The most important part of it is don't be an hypocrite. That's the most important part of it because if you're a hypocrite, you already lose before you start talking. If you made it to the end, thank you very much. Let's have the conversation. How many Christians have you met that are hypocrites in their ways of dealing, in their ways of talking, excusing their own flaws and others, so why magnifying others? I know I can list a lot. And how can we help each other without feeling being criticized or being judged? Like, subscribe. Let's talk. Have a wonderful day.